One. Hello. Today's date is Tuesday, the 18th of October. Miles, we are back. How are you, my friend?
We're back, baby. Back for another episode of Bits of Crypto. What a packed episode we have today. We got to talk about Quant. Some of the stuff happening on Quant is absolutely insane right now. We're going to talk
Crazy.
about Phantom, and then we have some major market updates as well for you guys. So, yeah, I'm very excited for the show.
Let's get into it. So here we go. Bits of crypto, bringing it to you on a daily, twice a week at the moment. But look at this Quant price, absolutely skyrocketing. This is the Quant chart over, it's the max Quant chart. But as far as tokens are concerned right now, this thing looks like it's reaching for all-time highs quicker than anything else. Are up 7.5%, and the current value is $206.73. So having a look at this tweet from you, Miles, you mentioned this the other day. It is a bear market, but there are a lot of tokens where you can make money. There are opportunities that are coming up, and if you can get on them quick enough and get on them at the right time, you will make cash. So
I definitely think it's a bit of a misconception. A lot of people think just because it's a bear market means that you can't make gains off long exposure. We obviously know that shorting has been one of the major ways to profit in this market, but there are still many ways that you can actually profit through longing and even on spot, or even with low leverage. And we've seen this be the case across Quant. We've seen this be the case across Chili's, GMX. Loon C, we made a 3x on Loon C like literally 2 weeks ago that I
what
talked
about this
about
one down
on
here?
my channel.
Don't forget this
Yeah,
one.
you
Sorry,
had Quack.
Tamer
You
and
did a
Quack.
10x.
I did a 10x off, or 9x off Tamer, and I did about a 4x off Quack yesterday, actually, which we partially touched on one of the other episodes, but we didn't really deep dive into it. But I mean, look, there's plenty of opportunities out there still. You've just got to be vigilant, right?
Yeah, you called 2 of them on the show, obviously those 2, and then there's been another 5 that have performed really well, and there's more as well. But Quant has been by far the strongest out of all of them recently, and it's just proof that you can actually still make money in a bear market if you pay attention, and you're diligent with your research and your risk management.
So speaking of research, Quant, I didn't know much about it, so we don't want to deep dive into it right now, but we are going to touch on it. Similar to XRP, its main function is being used as a payment system, right?
Yeah. So basically, what Quant is it's got an overledger network which powers enterprise solutions. So it's basically an interoperability play with a payments layer. So it aims to connect public blockchains and private networks together under the one hub. I think the narrative really driving Quant right now is its partnerships. It has many traditional financial partnerships which are going to help it get stock exchange listings and become a settlement layer for many of the major banks, derivatives exchanges, etc. And that's what's really driving Quant at the moment.
Yeah, that and a tweet from their a WhatsApp message
Telegram,
people have stumbled across from their CEO Gilbert Verdian, who said, "Hi, I said the digital assets will be listed on traditional exchanges by the end of the year. We're already seeing the adoption of this with 6 SDX in Europe and others in the US. We're working with AX to bring more digital assets, securities, tokenized assets to 800 institutional traders in an already live and connected FINRA SEC regulated exchange." So how do you read this? This is basically them saying that we're getting outreach. Is that right?
Yeah, 800 institutional traders is pretty massive. I think there are some projects in crypto which do rely on hype and rely on that kind of capital inflow coming in from the crypto economy, like we saw last year with a lot of those dexes. I'd say Quant and these kind of like payments processes are more blockchains that can harness traditional payment rails and can harness traditional investment. So definitely Quant having some exposure to that space is giving it a lot of upside. And obviously during the bear market, people are looking for that kind of upside. So that's why it's performed so well in terms of its price. And I do think it's a very interesting proposition because we haven't really seen a crypto penetrate traditional finance yet. And definitely a payment stack. I don't know if it will be Quant in the very end if we look at the end game here. But you also have other options like XRP and some of these other projects as well that are kind of filling that niche. So it's definitely a strong narrative. Just looking at the chart here, do you think it still has room to run from a TA perspective, or do you think it's looking a bit overbought?
No, look, it looks incredibly overbought, and we're getting a fair whack of bearish divergence starting to kick in now. But look, in saying that, the chart is trending up. It did break the trend line a little bit and then get straight back in. So that looks like it was a bit of a fake out. And I think it's going to be, the key is going to be when we get back up to this 228 number, about whether or not we're going to be able to push through that. Clearly, if we can break through that, then I would kind of imagine us hitting quite a high figure from a fib point of view. You'd probably be looking at around the even in the 1.628, about the 270 number before we kind of hit into anything else once we break this, I reckon. So, I mean, look, it's a fairly high number, but unless we get a rejection kind of from around this area here and a rollover coming back down, then I'd say the upwards is definitely the way to go still.
Yeah, I mean, it looks. I mean, the strength is absolutely insane. So you can't deny that.
Crazy.
I think it's a little bit, personally, a little bit too soon to be throwing around these $1,000 price targets. I know it's the title of the video because that's something a lot of people are asking. Can it hit 1,000?
I think it's way too high. Yeah.
It's not. I personally can't see it doing that this year. So anyone telling you that's the case, I think people are getting too optimistic. And usually when people get too optimistic or bullish on a token in this market, that's a sign that we're starting to approach a local top.
Yeah.
And that's not saying Quant can't fulfill its vision over the next 5 years, but in the short term, just be a little bit cautious and maybe have a look at some of the other related ISO projects, like the other payments projects that are being adopted under the Swift's payment standard as potential investments that could perform well. Now, at the end of the show, I'm going to be going through 2 of those projects that I think fit that bill and are actually lower market caps than Quant. So we'll get into that in the rest of the video.
Just on that as well, Binance were offering staking on the website, and that's effectively sold out at 3%. So that's another. So a lot of Quant's being locked up there. Onwards and upwards. Let's keep moving, buddy. Phantom. So the Phantom incentive. They had a $335 million Phantom incentive program, which started earlier in this year, and they've just recently updated us today with what looks like to be GameFi on Phantom and how hard they seem to be pushing it right now. So I'm just going to play this maybe while we're talking. There's some pretty incredible looking stuff as far as the game side of things are concerned, and this is pretty exciting for Phantom, I reckon.
Well, basically, I think Phantom's going through a little bit of, and many L1s are as well, a bit of an identity crisis in the sense that like it had a really strong DeFi presence in the bull market, but once you draw some of that liquidity away, then it becomes a little bit more iffy in terms of where that next influx is going to come from. So I think what the team said is, okay, we need to do an incentives program, but let's actually focus on a niche. And clearly they've identified GameFi as being one of the niches that they really want to push over and above DeFi. And if you scroll down below this video, you can see a list of the projects that are now starting to launch. Some pretty cool projects. Now, this isn't exactly, I mean, it pales in comparison to some of the other ecosystems like Matic, but it still is a big development for Phantom to be actually incentivizing these games. And look, I think if they can get a brand identity aligning with gaming and metaverse, that can be a potential catalyst in the future. I do like the incentives program. They did have their first VC investment in a while into Phantom. So things are looking interesting, but Phantom to me is just like it always has been. And that is a more speculative alt L1 play that should probably only comprise up to 5% of your portfolio on the max end. And, you know, I'd like to keep it around 2 to 3%. So definitely some hope for Phantom holders and Phantom fans. However, it's not something that I would weight too heavily in terms of going too crazy.
Yeah, and if you wanted to take a real risk, a good thing to do would be to jump onto something like this. Have a look through these games, see which games you dig, why you like them, have a think about why you like them, why you play them, see who's got the following, see who's got some backing, see who's, you know, do a bit of research into these. Like, I mean, just looking down this Penguin Cart, right? 51,000 followers already on Penguin Cart on their Twitter. Do a little bit of research into the project. I mean, this could be something worth even dabbling just a tiny little bit of your Phantom portfolio portion into something like this, which is more of a risky play. But, you know, this is a great place to start looking into different types of investments and how to split things up a little bit. Just on that, we were going to have a quick look at the Phantom price, which I'll just pull up here. Now, Phantom's in an uptrend as well by the looks of things. It's slowly ticking up, but it's definitely not as strong as some other movers in the market right now. I would be looking for Phantom to keep moving upward from here and kind of close this candle above this 21.2 number, and then maybe we'll get a bit more upside. But at the moment, it's one of the laggers at the moment in the market anyway, that's for sure, with everything pumping on. Okay, Onwards and upwards, just some interesting news. One of the Bitcoin blocks was delayed, and it delayed 13,000 transactions, which is pretty hectic. So this was overnight our time, and at 12:30 p.m. US time, we've had one of the Bitcoin mining blocks be delayed for up to 1 hour. And this led to nearly 13,000 transactions being stuck and then were effectively pending. Now, they're citing the fact that they reckon this has happened is because the Bitcoin difficulty or mining difficulty increased last week. And this is probably on flow from that. So it's kind of interesting. Maybe keep an eye on this. This could have something to do with miners decreasing as well, or mining not being as profitable right now because the Bitcoin price is so low. So therefore people maybe are shifting their focus from mining Bitcoin to mining something else.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. It's clearly you do get some headwinds whenever the hash rate goes up to that extent. So that's certainly something that's proved to be difficult. I mean, it's never good when Bitcoin has an issue for over an hour. Just quickly before we get into the next segment, I'd like to give a shout out to the show sponsor, Block Wallet. They're basically an EVM compatible wallet like MetaMask, but with a real UI focus. And it's kind of cool because they're doing in-wallet bridging and swaps as well. So if you want to check out, if you're looking for a new crypto wallet or just want to diversify your risk a little bit, if you've got all your money in MetaMask, then Block Wallet's definitely a good option. There's a link in the description. Yeah, I've been using it as well. And honestly, I'm not even doing this because they're our sponsor. I genuinely believe that Block Wallet's interface is better than MetaMask. Like, honestly. I believe
Also,
that's the case.
Don't forget to give us a like.
Yeah.
Don't forget to subscribe. Chuck us a comment. Tell us what you think of these little shows, these little quickfire shows that we're doing. And yeah, share it, have fun, have a good time, and let's keep moving on. But let's jump onto this one.
Hit the notification bell because you guys want to know when we go live, because we go live twice a week, Tuesdays and Fridays. So hit the notification bell so you don't miss a show, because we're bringing you this info quick fire. And yeah.
Quick. And don't forget to follow us on Twitter or Instagram or wherever your social media desire takes you. Now, just quickly, this is something I thought was pretty interesting just to have a quick look at, was 3 Arrows liquidators seek to subpoena the co-founders Zhu and Davies now. So this is super interesting because these guys are effectively MIA at the moment. No one knows where they are. So what's happened now is that the court is now filing to have a subpoena sent to their various different accounts, i.e. their Twitter accounts, to their email accounts. And this is pretty unprecedented. I don't think this kind of thing generally happens. A subpoena needs to go into your hand. But because of all this, they've brought in a special agent who they're going to be sending out to help find these guys. And here he is. Doe is coming in hot. He's coming in to help try and find these guys. We know Doe's not hiding. Doe is charging. He's ready to rock and roll. He's ready to go in and get these guys. That's super Doe for you.
I love it.
He is ready to rock and roll. Super Doe in the house. Let's move on, bro.
Macro. The big week ahead. We have massive earnings this week. This is the biggest event of the week, guys, the earnings. So obviously the market has stagnated a little bit. Interestingly to note, the Dow is pointing open 0.77% pre-market for tomorrow. Bitcoin is lagging slightly behind. So we had a 3% pump on the Nasdaq yesterday, or over the last 2 days. Bitcoin only pumped 2%, Ethereum 1.8%. during that time period. So crypto is actually lagging behind, which is interesting because usually it's slightly overextends based on the Nasdaq's movement. So it's interesting to note ahead of a very big week, which has some major earnings. Can you just bring up the earnings page again? It's got, I just want to go through some of the companies: Netflix, Goldman Sachs, Procter & Gamble, AT&T, Intel, Tesla, Snapchat, PayPal, American Express.
Massive.
It's a big week. Poor earnings will hit the stock market. That will hit crypto badly. But I do think the market is anticipating poor earnings already. So I would say that anything along the lines of mild to average earnings would be a big win for crypto. And that would see a rally in the stock market as well. So it just depends how bad you anticipate these earnings to be. But we are still waiting tomorrow is
Everyone's
when it kicks
waiting.
off. So in the next
Everybody's
20 hours,
waiting.
we are going to see some of these earnings start to come through, and that will be when we get some major market movement. So I wouldn't say this will be a quiet week. I do think this will be a choppy week on the markets. It's going to present some trading opportunities as well, though.
Someone who isn't so concerned about all of this is our mate Biden.
I'm not concerned about the Venezuela. I'm concerned about the rest of the world. Does that make sense?
You're concerned about the rest of the world. You've created the problem.
He is concerned about the rest of the world.
You've created the problem by raising interest rates.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
That's why
but
every
at least
other country's debasing versus the US.
Let's face it, at least he's not concerned, right? So that's a good thing. So as long as he's not concerned,
he's
then,
not worried. No, he's not worried.
Not worried at all. He's worried about the rest of the market, the economy.
America's playing a very tricky game at the moment. They're playing a very tricky game, and that's basically sacrificing the economy of the entirety of Europe and many Asian countries for the sake of the US dollar. And that is something that could really backfire if there's a global economic collapse. And we can see Italy now with their inflation reaching a 37-year high. So the ramifications are global, and specifically Europe getting hit quite hard right now off the back of the Russia-Ukraine stuff. So Biden, you may not be concerned, but honestly, I would be if I were you. So.
The world is concerned. But let's move on, buddy.
Into the market, onwards and upwards. So I've taken the total today for us to have a quick look at. The total crypto market cap is definitely uptrending at the moment, which is good. This is a possibility to move up back to this $9.2 trillion number up the top. $928 billion number. And it looks like we've kind of retested this lower area, and we're ticking up. So as far as these lines are concerned, things are looking good for an uptrend. What way do you think it plays out? Obviously, it relies on earnings, but do you have a bias?
My bias at the moment is for this to play up, I think.
I'd say I have a bullish direction.
I have marked over here. Created a lower high here, and so this is a potential here for it to be a lower high if we do only get to this point here. And predictions are predictions. Ultimately, no one knows what's going to happen. But at the moment, I am feeling like we're going to get a fair uptick. And
you can trade it either way, basically. Depending on earnings, you can definitely trade this either way.
Yeah, definitely. Just fear and greed index is stationary at 20.
It's been at 20 for ages.
Forever. And let's have a look. Best performers in the bubbles.
On the
Quant's
daily?
in there on the daily.
Atom.
Yeah, I know. That's surprising, isn't it? I mean,
HT.
look, it's good to...
Is that what it is?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, Hoiby token. It's good to have a green day finally. I can't tell you the last time I saw most of this green, so that's a nice...
You know why HT's up? Because of Justin Sun.
Why
He's been pumping it. I don't know. He's been doing lots of tweets on it because of his affiliation with Huobi. Lido Finance up as well. Interesting to see some of the Ethereum tokens pumping. We've got Curve, Convex on the DeFi side. I mean, a lot of tokens are up today, but especially some of these Ethereum-related tokens that have performed a little poorly post-merge.
Okay, let's move on, buddy.
Quickfire.
Quickfire. Yeah, this is massive. Aptos mainnet has arrived. Thoughts on this one, buddy? Wow. This is a big deal.
Well, now you can finally use Aptos. I mean, we've been waiting for the mainnet for a while. There still isn't a token. So anyone wanting the token now, you can put yourself in a good position to get it through interacting with the dApps on the network to potentially get an airdrop. I would say, I mean, there's been a lot of controversy post mainnet launch because the transaction speeds have been very slow. And there's been kind of a lot of like, well, Aptos is slower than Bitcoin, yet it's supposed to be like this new fast scalable L1. I would say let's all just park our reservations, park our opinions until this ecosystem is a little more fleshed out. Because look, at the end of the day, it's a $4 billion valued network. That's a massive valuation. It has the most VC funding we've ever seen of any L1, maybe barring Ethereum, but it would be close. So, I mean, when you've got that much backing, it's going to be pretty hard to not have some good dApps start to deploy. So let's just keep our eyes on this. I do think it's a cool ecosystem, but the valuation will be the valuation when it launches.
It will be. And NFTs are taking a massive hit by the looks of it. Things are dropping down, which is not great
So
overall.
bad, actually, that Magic Eden removed the royalty function on their app, and that caused a lot of backlash amongst the community, having optional royalties. I mean, look,
I do think that was something that's been kind of on the cards for them for quite a while, though. I don't think it's something they just pulled out of nowhere. There was I was listening to a space the other day in relation to this, and a lot of people talking about the idea behind why to do it and why not to do it, and the pros and cons. And it does kind of fold both ways in relation to that, although I disagree with it because I think the artists need to get the royalties. Ultimately, all it's really doing is helping out the platform. So it is a bit of not a great thing.
Well, because the platform's the platform's struggling in terms of users. So is OpenSea. So is the whole NFT ecosystem.
Yeah.
They need to find ways to keep it afloat, and I guess that's one of the ways. And I get it. You got to make tough decisions during the bear market, but the overall state of the NFT market's not amazing.
It's not, but maybe this will help. MasterCard will help banks offer cryptocurrency trading. So this is pretty good. They're launching a program to let financial institutions offer crypto trading to their clients, which is pretty massive. So basically, they're going to be acting
networks.
They're going to be acting as a bridge, which could on-ramp a huge amount of cash and a huge amount of capital into the crypto space. So this is super, super, super positive.
The more traditional players, Visa, MasterCard, I mean, we've already seen JP Morgan flip their stance a bit. Obviously, BlackRock offering some crypto trading to clients. The more of these guys that get involved, the better. Obviously, short term, we won't see the ramifications. But the thing is, you got to remember, by the time the next bull run comes around, there is so much more infrastructure to on-ramp institutional and retail clients that may have not been involved in crypto before. Like, it could be a bigger bull run than ever, just for the fact that the pure access is unprecedented. If you go back to last cycle, we didn't have this stuff. We didn't have these options. So it's pretty exciting as a long-term crypto enthusiast. But yeah, obviously not going to have short-term ramifications.
Well, as we know, bear market, nothing changes. No news changes the day, unfortunately, when you're in these markets. But it's good to know.
If this was announced during November last year,
bang, we'd be
Bitcoin would
go.
The problem is
it'd be all-time high for sure.
Yeah, good news is bad news in a bear market.
For sure. Okie dokie.
Play of the day.
You want to start this one off, buddy?
Where we give you our plays that we're looking at the moment. It's where Tricky gave you a 10x on Tamadoge. So we have had some pretty good plays of the days recently. So my play of the day comes on, and I'll be brief about this, comes off the back of a narrative that's playing out right now. We can see the Quant Payments ISO narrative. It's very strong. We can see MNW as well starting to catch a bit of steam on the social metrics. EWT, Energy Web Token, getting some attention as well. I actually really do like EWT, so I'll put that as kind of under my play of the day branch. But the other play of the day that is related to these tokens is DAG, or the DAG token, which I think it looks pretty good from a tech perspective. Now, it's still something I'm researching. I'm going to update you guys with my research on Twitter, if you're following me on Twitter. However, from the research that I have done so far over the last couple of days, DAG looks like a token to me that has a pretty good risk-reward upside compared to its downside. So we would call this a token with asymmetric risk. Although it's not really a trade for me, this isn't really how I'd play something like this. I do more of a steady accumulation with profit taking rather than any crazy swing trade. So DAG's one that I'm actually starting to like, and I think the market cap is relatively low at 200 mil. And as you can see, it hasn't really run as much as some of these other tokens. Quant's 4.7x from its lows. DAG's only up like 20% from its low, so it's 30.
No, it's up 58% from its absolute low, which was
but I mean most things are. So it's not.
If we're talking about,
so I'd say DAG and EWT from that list.
Yeah, you're talking about a 30%.
I'd say DAG and EWT from that list are the two most attractive. I'll keep you guys updated with my research there. I haven't bought any yet, but it's definitely a play of the day that I'm looking at. What about you?
My play of the day is a lot more, shall we say, isolated. It's not a long-term play. It's a short-term play. I am currently, it seems to me that XRP seems to be lagging behind the rest of the market on this little pump here. So I'm looking at getting into just a short-term XRP long. which I'll be taking kind of just as we come back and retest this area just in here. Stop loss underneath the previous low, and I'll be looking to take this one back up to just capture this liquidity zone just up the top here. That's my play of the day. Let's see if we get it. Probably in there somewhere. That's where I'd be looking to take profit. But that to me is a fair play. XRP is lagging, and we do know that when it does pop pretty quickly. So that is my play of
pre-market's open. Pre-market's open for the Dow. Bitcoin's been lagging. If we do see crypto catch up, then obviously some of the lagging altcoins will as well. XRP fits that bill. So I certainly get the logic from a fundamental standpoint, but we are going to need to clear that level, and obviously very tight stop loss on that one.
Very much so, very much so. Well, that's us for the day, buddy. That is us. So don't forget to give us a like, give us a subscribe, follow us both on
bell, ding, ding, ding.
Follow us on Twitter, follow us on Instagram. All of our stuff's there. Have a good day, and we'll see you on Friday.
See you on Friday. Peace out.
Peace, y'all.